Good morning, and I'm delighted to be part of the Premium Food and Beverage Forum in Albany. Actually, I'm in my garden in Wales, and for once it's 10 degrees centigrade warmer here than it is in Albany itself. You can't often say that. Thinking about your forum, maybe think about what is premium. Is premium just about higher prices? Well, actually, premium's a lot more than just that. It's about an enhanced and upgraded experience, whatever that experience might be related to, in this particular case, food and beverages. So how can we do that for food? Well, certainly you can have an upgraded experience in terms of taste. You want a really yummy taste. Remember, we put food in our mouths and it should taste absolutely great. But also it helps if it's distinctive, where it is a special taste, which is redolent of something else. And for food and drink too, I think you've got to link it with people, places, and fruit and beverage traditions to the extent that we can do that. And we should try and express the eating of it through the values associated with the production and the experience associated with who produces, where they produce it. We need more on the provenance, for example. And this gives us an opportunity to enjoy the pleasures and opportunities that we can discover when we have this special food, this special snack, this special meal or drink. And perhaps we can link it back to memories of holidays in the past. Although actually that's always a little bit dangerous. Just as an aside, I used to live in the Caribbean in Barbados, and I noticed that every single tourist who arrived in Barbados would get fully into the rum punches during their stay. Lovely, very tasty. And then when they went home, what would they do? They'd take a bottle of rum with them to repeat that experience at home. Does that actually happen? Nah, never gets out of the liquor cabinet. I've seen the same in Australia too, where tourists say, ducker. We don't know what ducker is. That's lovely with that special olive oil and great bread, etc. So they buy 400 grams of it, and it never gets out of the cupboard at home. So, on the one hand, we want that special experience related to holidays, but then make sure that they use it on a regular basis, or it'll just remain in the fridge or remain in the cupboard. So, premium isn't just about high price and high prices for the elite, for the rich. It's not just about special occasions. It's much more than that, and it's certainly not about low sugar or low fat. No. That's for other foods at a different time. It's about special occasions and linking it to the experiences that we can remember. So, premium food and beverages can certainly be indulgent. No reason why they shouldn't be. But also, they've got to be in tune with contemporary consumer values, I would suggest. And as I look around the world, what I see is that the green bar, if you'll allow me, is just getting higher and higher. So consumers, shoppers are asking for more in their food. They want it to be, and for us to be successful in international markets, we need to be in tune with, compatible with global megatrends. One that comes to mind is that increasingly around the world, people are purchasing food and drink products with mindful choice in their mind's eye. What does that mean? Well, they want to make choices which suit the occasion. In this case, perhaps the family around the table celebrating an event, or maybe just celebrating the weekend. But they want it to be healthy for the family. But not just healthy for the family, healthy for the environment, healthy for producers, healthy for the local economy or the economy where we purchase the product. It's increasingly important. And whilst for many products, food products, for example, which are processed, yes, processed is okay, but the better is if it's simply processed, if it's naturally processed, if it has ingredients which are few, which are pronounceable, which we can relate to. Over-processed foods have really suffered really, really badly over the past 5 years. I think there's a pretty special opportunity for you, given your location close to increasingly higher income countries in Asia, to take advantage of the Asian gifting market. What's all that about? All of us, no doubt, have been in Asian supermarkets where we've seen astonishingly high-priced produce. Well, what is gift giving about in Asia? Actually, gift giving is increasing every year, and it's not just China. This is in Thailand, this is Malaysia, this is in Singapore, etc. It's for ordinary folk. It's not just for the rich folk, and what's more, ordinary folk are spending between $100 and $300 Australian per gift, and that gift is a special gift. It's a key signal of the value of a relationship, which they hope will be passed back to them at some later stage. And high price, they like to pay high prices. That's important, and particularly if it reflects the perceived quality, and that's hugely important. 50% of gifts in the gifting market in Asia are for food and beverages. And what's more, imported food is seen as being particularly special. And Australian food and drink is firmly on the gift map as far as Chinese, for example, are concerned. I was just in Thailand just 10 days ago in a upmarket supermarket, I might say, and I was completely intrigued. There were grapes, green grapes, white stroke green grapes, selling at 175 Oz per kilo. I'm thinking, what is that about? On the same shelf, actually, were red globe grapes from Australia selling at $12 per kilo, which is a pretty good price in itself. So, there's that sort of that opportunity there. Is it a big opportunity? No, it's a niche opportunity, but certainly one worth looking at. Okay. But again, given the opportunity to talk to you, I was just thinking, but where is WA? Where is Western Australia from the perspective of a tourist, for somebody from outside your own market? And just think of this. I was minded to look at the size of the state in which you live, in WA. WA is the same size on a geographical basis as, wait for it, Italy, France, Spain, Germany, UK, Portugal, Poland, Belgium, Netherlands, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia, all put together. That's your landmass. It's absolutely vast. So how does one position WA, something which is half the size of Western Europe, for goodness sake? I think we've got to think carefully about that. It's so vast. But maybe that's its distinctiveness. Who knows? The further you go, remember, the further you go from WA, the less people know of you. So remember, never underestimate how little people will know about Western Australia. Actually, never underestimate how little they know of Australia. So WA, that's another matter. If I look across Australia, who's doing a decent job in terms of positioning themselves as something special, particularly as it relates to food and beverages? Clearly Margaret River has done well, although I think that's particularly related to wine. I think that Tasmania has done well, although again you've got to be very, very careful that you don't overdo that. Remember, Tasmania, does the world know about Tasmania? Well, no, it doesn't, and the vast majority of the world are confused between Romania and Tasmania. So, but Tasmania in general, that sort of clean, green, isolated, special, pristine view that they present, I think is good. What about South Australia? Maybe the Barossa. Again, it's wine related, but that sort of the rawness of the Barossa area, but the great wines that come because of that, the stress that grapes are put under, given the harsh climate. Let's see, what about your Tasman cousins? There's a quick story there. Until relatively recently, the New Zealand food industry has used the strapline, which they took actually from the tourist sector in New Zealand, which was 100% pure New Zealand. Brilliant. In many respects, that reflects what many people from outside New Zealand think of New Zealand as being, again, a bit like Tasmania, pristine, etc., clean and green, great scenery. But if you make a promise like 100% pure, then can you deliver on that? And I would suggest that I see now that New Zealand are backing off that, because with little problems that Fonterra have had, for example, with dairy, every now and again there are sort of environmental issues, that the question is, are you sure you're 100% pure? And indeed, they're not. So you've got to be careful. But so back to WA, where do you position it? You know, is it about Broome? Is it about Kununurra? Is it about the Wheat Belt? Is it about Albany? But in many cases, I think that's the project in itself, to try and work out how do we position, what stories do we tell about Western Australia, and are they coherent? Do they fit together? So vast, mysterious, raw, untouched and spoilt. You know, those are words that come to mind when I think of your terrific state. But what can I say now? But let's hope there is a growing market for premium food and drinks, and just like anything else in food marketing, what it's about is understanding what consumers value and are willing to pay a premium for. You know, and sometimes it's just the simplest idea can bring sort of wonderful results. The best performing stock in the UK stock exchange over the last 3 years has been a beverage product, and it's Fever Tree. If you know Fever Tree, what it is, it's posh tonic for posh gin. And about 8 years ago, that as a entrepreneur noticed that the market was interested in upgrading its experiences with gin, and so you got posher gins. They said, well, if you're going to have posh gins, let's have a posh tonic. How's that been reflected in market value? It's astonishing. The market capitalization of Fever Tree at the moment is 5 billion Australian dollars on sales of 300 million. So that's 5 billion market cap versus 300 million sales, which is relatively little. It just reminds me that, you know, over the time that it's grown to its current size, that actually right now is a wonderful time worldwide for startup food and beverage companies. If I look around, big food, big soda has not done well, and they've been spanked pretty thoroughly, if you will, by smaller scale businesses that have just been energized. They've been quick to identify emerging consumer trends in their own markets and in global markets, and then they've just gone in 2 feet first. So from a food investment point of view, I can't think of a better time in my professional career where there are such large opportunities for the smaller, medium enterprises in food and drink. I wish you well, and I hope you have a great forum. Thank you very much.